Labas vakaras. Eurolygos traukinys įsivažiuoja ir šįkart su juo leisimės į Madrido nuotykį. Tiesa, ne visi žalgiriečiai išvyko į Ispanijos sostinę ir galės pasirodyti ant parketo. Žalgirietis Nigelas Williamsas Gosas, kuris būtent su Madrido Realu tapo Eurolygos čempionu, šįkart lieka namuose, tęsia reabilitaciją ir viską stebės per televizorių. Užtat šįkart jis mūsų laidoje ir netrukus papasakos istorijų, kurios nebuvo girdėtos. So when you arrived in Kaunas, you already carried your own stories. This is where you became a EuroLeague champion. So what kind of emotions and memories came back as you walk here, walking green?
Yeah, I mean, every time I've come back to the arena since, we won the EuroLeague a couple years ago, it always, has a special, feeling. When you accomplish something so monumental, it's always, brings back that feeling. So it was kind of surreal to be back and touring the arena and just remembering, where I was, in between the semifinal game and the final, and then obviously when we won. So, great memories.
And Žalgiris wanted you for years, literally. Every single time you became a free agent, they called. And once you said the decision came down for 1 hour.
Mm-hmm.
So has any other club in your career been so persistent?
No, I don't think so. Not as much as Žalgiris, no. I would say, like you said, having multiple free agencies and talking to them every single free agency. And then, as you mentioned, I remember after my first year in Partizan, before I went to Olympiacos the first time, like I said, I was about 45 minutes away from signing. So I've always been so close to coming here. And, it's just crazy that eventually it worked out and now I'm here.
And Žalgiris doesn't often get a player like you, a guy everyone in Europe knows, a guy in his prime. So the reaction in Lithuania was wild, and everyone was asked the same thing. Why now? Why Kaunas? Why would Nigel choose Kaunas over places like Greece?
Oh, I mean, honestly, I think my career has been different than a lot of players. A lot of players, it takes them, many steps to get, let's say, to like the most historic teams or the best teams in Europe. And as I mentioned, I played 1 year in Europe, and then I went straight to Olympiacos and then back to the NBA. And then after a 4-month stint at Lokomotiv, I signed at Madrid and then back to Oli. So for me, it's like, I feel like I had the experience of playing, at the biggest clubs, went to 4 Final Fours, won a EuroLeague. So I've kind of done that. And not that I don't want to do it again, but I wanted to do it differently, and come to a place with Žalgiris where I felt like the infrastructure was here, the hunger was here, and then the opportunity for me to, kind of lean on that, those experiences and let my leadership really take over was something that excited me. So I think just because of my career path, it just made sense at this time of my career that if I was going to, take on a challenge like this, I felt, like you said, in my prime being, 30, 31, now was the time to do it.
And did you hear that people in Lithuania found out that you were coming through real estate agents?
Yeah, I heard about that after I came, and I heard the stories that, it had got released or whatever, that I was looking for an apartment. And then there was so many specifics about the type of apartment and this and that. So I guess it just goes to show you how small, Kaunas is. And so, I just thought it was kind of funny.
Mm-hmm. And now you're injured, you are not playing, but you travel with the teams, try to stay engaged, try to stay present. But how does that feel inside?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. You always want to be there for your teammates when, things are going well. I remember sitting there watching the Valencia game and seeing us win in the crowd, and you want to experience that. And then also when things aren't going well, I was just in Greece and this past double week and wanted to be out there with the teammates in those tough moments. So whether things are good or bad, you want to be with the team. So like you said, try to be there as much as I can. Try to stay vocal, stay engaged, so that when I do come back, it doesn't feel like I've been so absent for so long.
I always joke that Lithuania has 100 basketball podcasts, and every single day there is a new one. And I just wanted to share what people have been saying about you, because they were wondering, is this real Nigel role? Because when Sylvain Francisco having this #1 God label, and Maudolo is also here, but the first impression was that you accepted your certain role, but Did you? And is it actually the role you see for yourself?
As far as what? Let me ask you more specific. Like, what do you mean by that?
That, everybody and everyone was talking that you are guy number one, not Sylvain. Maybe you are thinking that you should be the guy number one. But now we are seeing that Francisco, he's the leader of this team. So people were just asking and discussing about this topic.
I mean,
how do you feel about your role?
Yeah,
Are you happy with that?
Yeah, I came here to help us win. I think that was the only thing that was missing from Žalgiris was in the last couple of years was to get back to the playoffs and wanting to win. So, I mean, the way we started the season, we were, in first place. We were still in the top 5. So, yeah, my role is to help us win, and however that looks like, it looks like. For me, I'm happy with where we are right now as a team. Obviously, I think it's a long season, so we're going to have to continue to progress if we want to stay near the top. But yeah, like I said, I think my role in this team is to help us be successful. I think there's been a lot of great players that have been here in the past, but ultimately we play a team game, and the objective is to win. So I think so far, like I said, it's been a good start, but a long ways to go.
Kaunas in winter is no joke. November start this long and dark stretch, and then December, January, February, tough months, and players feel it. How is it for you, for your family, for your kids, this dark season?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're at the beginning of it, so I probably haven't experienced the worst of it, but I mean, luckily in those months we're traveling and there's a lot of games, and obviously my focus is on the basketball court, and I will say that my kids, they found a great school, and my wife is branching out, and she's making her own friends. So so far it's been good. Like I said, we probably haven't experienced the worst of months, but up until this point, everything's been great.
And from basketball side, Žalgiris gives everything. Yeah, top facilities, top people, top travel, except top weather. So how does that feel coming from places like Athens or Madrid?
I mean, I just think it's up to the individual. And for me, like I said, I'm so competitive, and basketball means so much to me. For me, this game is not just about, the lifestyle and everything that comes with it. I really love the game. So the basketball piece being so top notch, like you said, was the most important thing to me, because like I said, I've experienced, great cities, great weather, this and that. And the ups and downs of the season, when the season is in a bad place, you feel that, and it's not like, I mean, for me at least, no sun or anything can change the way I feel about basketball. So for me, if basketball's going well, everything else is secondary, aside from my family being okay, of course. But yeah, Žalgiris has everything that I think a player could want or need, and I'm just very thankful that they've given me the opportunity to join such a great club. And like I said, we've gotten off to a great start.
And talking about Madrid, Real Madrid is coming next. And this team inside out, but also this team changed a lot. Now with Sergio Scariolo in charge, things became extremely structured, very precise. Even the schedule for next day arrives at 5 p.m. So, and the interesting part is that usually people say that NBA players need more time to adapt, but this season in Madrid, it's opposite, that NBA guys and the newcomers adapted faster than the veterans, and the players like Campazzo, Tavares, or Hezonja, they needed more time to adapt because the previous system was completely different. How does that sound for you?
Yeah, I mean, you can see just, from early on that obviously he was implementing, like you said, a new system, a new style. So even for me, like you said, I know the players so well and I know the organization so well, but seeing them play a completely different style is still like a little bit strange for me. So yeah, it's definitely taking some time. Anytime you have a new coach with new players, it's going to take time. We said it about our own team. And teams around the league will say the same. So you can see that they're still finding their ways. They've shown flashes of being really good, and then there's been times where they've struggled. So I think just like a lot of teams, they're still trying to find their identity. But like you said, they got a great coach and obviously a super talented team. So I'm sure they'll be fine.
And your last trip to Paris, you didn't play, but you traveled with the team. And one moment went viral when Sasha Vezenkov was holding your little baby. What was the story behind that moment?
My son Naz was just, he's a fanatic about the game of basketball, and obviously my biggest supporter. And so he was always coming to the games last year, and the fans kind of just embraced his passion. He, like I said, he loves the crowd and stuff like that. So I think it was just, him coming back. Everyone was waiting for his return. And then, like I said, he was always in the locker room, always with the players, celebrating with us and stuff like that. So they were excited to see him, and it was just an organic moment that, got captured on camera, which obviously was pretty cool.
Thank you, Nigel. Really appreciate your time. O mūsų laikas iki rungtynių jau baigė ir ištiksėti. Tai ačiū visiems žiūrėjusiems. Čia buvo laida Žalgiris. Gero visiems krepšinio, reikia tikėtis, kad Kauno Žalgiris sugrįš į pergalių kelią. Iki.